Welcome back to some more Tokyo Xtreme Racer, and in today's part, we are going to be switching things up. Now, I've spent the last 4 parts, basically the first proper half of the game, using the same car, the Subaru Impreza, and it's been a pretty good car, but we are starting to run out of extra things that we can do to it to make it faster, and this next part of the game is going to really start to ramp up. So I think it's time to do away with it, and instead put in something faster in its place, at least for now, the NA2, or the Honda NSX, of course. Now, you probably will have noticed I did add some more money into the save. That's basically just continuing to use the license trick in the Japanese version of the game. I put that much because, as you will see, even after we sell our Impreza here for 24,000, that it's going to be the amount that we kind of really need in order to keep ourselves into the safe zone. And I've got ahead and sped all this bit up because, you know, it's going to take a little while anyways. But yeah, I thought, you know, it would have been boring anyways to drive the same car through the whole thing, so I thought I'd switch it up and get the and instead get the NSX. Just something that I know is quick and will really put the hammer down on even some of the later rivals for sure. And I liked the white paint job, so I decided to go and paint the whole thing white, including the second bit, to give it a full white job. And there we go, it's now all done up. Makes just over 500 horsepower, which for a car like this, with the amount of weight and the mid-engine placement, it's going to be real quick. So anyways, let's go right back into what we're usually doing. 2 teams, and starting it off now with the first of them, a team called R Gangs, which again goes back to nothing but 86s. We first have here is Gazelle. Oh, yes, Gazelle. Great name. Gazelle is a reckless driver who always floors the accelerator, but has crashed numerous times when racing. Well, I mean, if you're going to be a reckless driver, it shouldn't really come as a surprise that you're probably going to cause some damage. Seems like a smooth brain moment, as I like to call it, but who knows, really? Who knows? It's interesting, though, that if we're in the order that we're doing this, we would start the second half with another 86 team like we did in the first half. It's almost as if they kind of did that on purpose, almost. But R Gangs does tend to drop quite a bit of money when you beat each rival, even if all they're driving is simply just 86s and stuff. So it's very interesting. But the next one we have here is another trio, is Black Illusion, an economical driver who will not go above 5,000 RPM. I mean, that might be fine in most circumstances, in real life especially, but for racing, yeah, that's not going to help. When you're trying to win and trying to make sure that your bar doesn't completely drain, I think the idea of trying to save fuel plays less of a matter. It's not like you're in an endurance race. You're in just a point-to-point that's over within a matter of seconds, sometimes maybe minutes if you can really stretch it out. But it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know, I'm not buying it. Whatever, it's fine. Nearly 6,000 CP for that teammate. 6,000 CP, that's a lot. And it's only going to keep getting up after this part. Hell's Bartender is the next driver. This time it's a Corolla 11. He's a bartender who is known for his drifting skills. He handles his car as well as his shaker. His shaker, so what? Like, that's the thing he uses to, like, make the drinks? Since he's a bartender? That's what I'm gonna have a guess is what they mean by that. You know, it would make the most sense that way. But nevertheless, the unfortunate thing for Hell's Bartender is we're kind of pretty much on the big, the fast section, and yeah, you can see with this NSX, this thing goes. It doesn't struggle to get much speed after like 150 or so. This thing will comfortably go past even 180. The unfortunate thing is, according to the default stats with a fully tuned NSX, it should be capable of going about 220, but there's nowhere long enough in the game to find out if it really can hit 220, so oops. Well, anyways, let's just forget about that as we move on to Street Dancer. Its off-road winning ratio was above 80%, but is only 35% in the city. So basically, what the game's trying to imply is that they're an excellent off-road racer, not a very good on-road racer. Then again, I sure hope this person doesn't use an A86 for off-road racing, because it's a rear-wheel drive car. That's probably not going to go very well for them. I imagine they must have a different car for that. But what do I know? Especially since, you know, that you never see these people with multiple cars in the same game. And again, nearly 6,000 CP again for that one. Whew. The next driver we have here is Raindrop. Back to Xtreme. Became a racer following the footsteps of his brother, but joined a different team to distinguish himself. I'm not exactly sure who the brother is. I'm sure if I look deep enough, I might be able to find it, but I'm not, again, not 100% sure. But hey, maybe the whole thing is maybe the rolling guy. Maybe one of the rolling guy members is his brother. And he went to go to our gangs just so, you know, they're not part of the same team. I mean, they both drive 86s. It would make the most sense. Because apart from rolling guy, I think the only other drivers I've seen with 86 is a team member and the leader of Diamond Image, and that's, I think, it. I don't remember if there was another 86 in there somewhere that I'm just suddenly forgetting again. Maybe, but right now I'm focusing on getting this out. Anyways, back to another 11 here. Professor Speed. Ooh, excuse me, I'm having a slight moment for myself. He approaches racing from an analytical point of view, normally quiet, but don't make him angry, or his car will turn green and he'll become very strong, and we'll just instead of smacking into walls, we'll just destroy them in half. You know, I don't know. I do find it very interesting that they call him Professor Speed. Again, despite the fact that he drives an 86. Now, again, this isn't to say that our gangs is like a team to just, you know, kind of scoff around and just kind of make mockeries out of. They are decently, surprisingly quick for the kind of cars that they have, but it's definitely not the sign of how fast things will become for sure, that being said. But again, nearly 6,000 CP once more, and of course, that's 6 of the R gangs down. It's time for the 7th and the leader, Drift Dancer, always looking for a new challenger for his turbo-tuned 86. So that gives you a small idea of exactly what's under the power, or what's under the hood, excuse me, of this 86. The answer is turbos. It gives me the belief that most of the team probably has turbos, if they're surprisingly quicker than their vehicles would make it seem, and also the amount of money that they're dropping. That's just a hunch, mind you. Also, it isn't ironic that if you had just noticed there, the car that we passed on the left was a rolling guy, as we're facing R gangs. I wonder if the R in gangs mean rolling gangs. Who knows? I don't know. We had 8,621 CP, again, from an 86. That's a lot. As we're finished with that team, it's time to get to the second team of this part, which is Tokyo Jungle, as we face the first member, this time in an FC RX-7 with... excuse me, I had a moment in my throat. Salty Dog. It was not a salty throat, it was a salty dog. Which is not particularly the greatest name if you think about it. It makes them seem like they're like someone who got mad over video games and is also a dog for some reason. But no. Started out racing only recently and has a lot to learn, but shows good potential. So basically one of the very promising drivers. Probably more promising than me, because as you saw there, I made a huge mistake out of that. That was it's a bit of an oops moment from me. It's fine though. The good thing about having as I was saying, the good thing about having an NSX is that, well, you can catch up pretty quickly, at least if you know what you're doing. And before you're asked, there is no advanced tune on this car right now. That will come in part 6. Again, thank you, Jake MR2, for the tune that I will show in part 6. But this is just with its initial setup, with just the stuff that I showed very quickly on screen. No advanced tuning or anything like that. Also, get out of the way, Sylvester. And yeah, despite having the RX-7, only 3,000 CP, Tokyo Jungle in general does not drop as much money as R gangs. And again, R gangs is an 86 team, so whoops. But anyways, the next driver we have here is White Fox with a 180SX. Although talented, he doesn't follow through and drops the ball in a pinch. So basically what they're saying is that there's someone who already has plenty of skill, but the problem is they can't continue through with that skill, and when the tables have turned, I don't even know what I'm trying to say there. But basically, when the things don't go right, they fall behind. I'm guessing is what it's trying to imply there. My brain, I swear, sometimes my brain does not function. But you can see though that White Fox is definitely at least doing a good job, like sort of keeping up. And yeah, would have been a bit quicker if I didn't do that, but it's fine. We'll just pretend that never happened. Because again, the good thing about the NSX, it's fast. It's very fast. That's why I wanted to use it for this playthrough, because I didn't do it last time around, and I thought this was a car very much worth showing off. Because I don't think I had it last time. Before people ask, by the way, why didn't you use the Banshee NSX since that one had a custom livery? Because Banshee's NSX is the only special car in the game you cannot buy. Not even in the Japanese version, where the Banshee had the swastika on their logo. Not even that. There is technically a way to access it through, through file editing. It's like using a cheat engine or so to change values so that you can use the car. So it definitely was planned at some point, but you can't normally access it, which is very weird. Very, very weird that it's like that. Oh well. Anyways, so the RX-7 that we're facing, by the way, is slide-free. Just moved to Tokyo and still has trouble navigating the highway. Seems like quite a bit to put yourself into a racing team when you're just trying to get used to the highway that surrounds you. It's almost sounds kind of daunting, don't you think? Maybe that's just the way I look at it, I guess. That dropped 4,364, which was a little bit more than some of the other ones. And you might notice there that I didn't even really have to search for the next driver. I just came out of autopilot after that last one to face not the Belch, but Running Blue Wave. Spends a lot of money on his car, but doesn't care too much about its appearance inside or out. So what I'm getting by that is this person doesn't really care what it does, so long as it does something, I guess. Just, you know, if it affects the car, whatever. Seems like a easy way to go waste your money. I don't know. That's just how I'm trying to look at it, I guess, for sure, maybe, but yeah, as you can see here, it's all speed all the time. And then this happens. I was trying... This traffic car refused to let me pass. I was trying to sneak through there, just kind of get through the gap. But the traffic car kept trying to turn back into the lane at the same time. So we had a bit of an incident there. So eventually I had to just say fuck it and start pushing back just to get the car away from me so that I could keep the fucking car moving. It be like that. You know, it do in fact be like that. But whatever. Doesn't matter. Only 3,000 CP from that one. As we come across another Tokyo Jungle member in a Civic this time, MJ 6'6", or Michael Jordan 6'6". And yes, MJ in this case is referring to Michael Jordan, not because that's the driver's name, but because of the 6'6" part. Michael Jordan's real life height is 6'6". Yeah. Subtle. Very subtle. And of course, to make things even more clear, the bio for MJ 6'6" is a former basketball player for his company, specializes in darting in and out to gain position. Again, Crave, I see what you did there. I don't know what the name how the name shows in Japan, and maybe it says MJ 6'6", maybe not. I'll have to look into it at some point, but doesn't really matter too much because the win is the more important thing right now, obviously. As we come across the last of the Tokyo Jungle members before the leader, yep, seven drivers for both. Black Wind with an Integra, a newcomer to the racing world, sticks to the highway. I mean, isn't that pretty much all the drivers in this game? We all stick to the highways? I mean, seems pretty obvious, don't you think? If we're all this time we're just driving on the C1 highway here, you think all the drivers stick to the highway? Kind of seems like a bit of a duh moment to me. At least the way that's That's just the way I see it. Excuse me. But whatever, that's fine. Don't worry about it. As we picked up another 4,000 to get to blah 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 CP, as we now have one more, and that's the leader, and it is IO. I'm hoping it's pronounced IO, because it literally is 2 letters. IO, EO, not sure. But I'm just going to go with IO because that's what my mind defaults to the most. Anyways, IO is, as you see there, has another RX-7, so that's 3 RX-7s on the team. I think it's 3, right? 3 or 4? Whatever. A racer sponsored by a shop, a drift freak who prefers compact cars. Well, I wouldn't exactly call the RX-7 a very compact car. It's not like a land yacht or anything, so maybe that might still count, but it's not the most compact thing in the world. In fact, the MJ 6'6" and Black Wind there, they both have cars that are more compact than IO's RX-7 there. Just saying. But nevertheless, we got 7,000 CP from them. Again, less than the leader from our gangs. And yeah, there's that. And as you can tell, no boss, because the amount of teams that are left and the amount of bosses that are left, it now requires beating 3 teams before a boss shows up. So we won't see a boss until the next part. So, if you're interested in that, stay tuned. We'll have the tune that Jake MR2 gave me for that to see how it affects the NSX. But of course, we'll get to that when we get to that. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you want to see the next videos come out. Check out all my stuff down below if you want to see what else I'm up to. Support the channel if you'd like on Patreon. You can get your name at the start of this video. Thank you guys so much, and I will see you guys all on the next video.